Amanda? Great, thank you.
That sounds great, Shana.
All right, hi guys. Welcome to our presentation. We're really excited to give this to you. It's service and volunteerism as a means to a career, and it's about using AmeriCorps to help you kind of launch your careers or your students to launch their careers. And just very excited to give it to you. I'm a little breathy. I just ran downstairs. Thanks, Amanda, for switching the slides.
Yeah.
So today we want to talk to you guys. We're going to switch back and forth, and I'll let Amanda introduce herself in just a minute. We're going to talk about the introductions between Amanda and myself. We're going to talk about what is AmeriCorps, the benefits of service for AmeriCorps for your students, and how you can share AmeriCorps opportunities with your school or organization. And I will caveat right now, I'm home alone, and so I have two big, beautiful, giant dogs who are in my background, and you may hear them as well. All right, so I'd like to go ahead and introduce myself. I'm Shana Bloom. There are my dogs. That is Luna, my brown Newfoundland, and Maple, my puppy, who's a black Newfoundland. You can see right there on the screen. And my cat Simba and down below, which also looks very similar to my co-presenter's cat. And I'm in private practice for myself. I've got a counseling and educational consulting business. And I'm also a career coordinator over at Scituate High School. So, and I've done a lot of work at the college level, at the high school level, and at the workforce level. And I really believe in the PrepareRI program, and I'm excited to share with you another element of it, learning about AmeriCorps. And so that is a picture up there of me in my backyard, and then some of my favorite places. I'm originally born and raised in Colorado, and that's a picture of Colorado, Breckenridge from last summer. And then also a picture of the ocean most recently. So that's a little bit about me. And now what I'd like to do is show you why I am so passionate about PrepareRI. And I've watched it change lives. I've participated in it. I'm really, really passionate about it. I have a student who we will highlight in just a moment, Nina Pandey, who's the head of Skills for RI, actually was on the news a few years ago, pre-pandemic, and she highlighted two students, and one of them was one of my students from Mount Hope who had struggled a lot with school, and the PrepareRI program really helped her launch into a whole new way of being in terms of college and in terms of experience and in terms of being able to become the neonatal nurse that she had dreamed of. But prior to playing that, I really want to explain my involvement. I've also been an ambassador with PrepareRI for 2 years now. And it's a program that really kind of helps prepare Rhode Island's educational leaders, principals, schools, teachers, administrators, faculty, and just people at large who are involved with education, and to help taking them and help being able to put them on teams where we can take out the mission of how we can help our students. So with that said, I've worked on the XQRI project, and now I'm so pleased to work with Amanda on the AmeriCorps project. We'll talk a little bit more about AmeriCorps, but now I'd like to play a video from a couple of years ago that this was highlighted on the news.
It is 8:44.
You guys hear it?
Taking you on the job. Earlier this morning, we told you about a paid summer internship program right here in the Ocean State, and now we're meeting two very excited members of the program who participated last summer, Mallory Alves from Mount Hope High School in Bristol, and also Victor Cabrera Sanchez from Evolutions High School in Providence. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
So Mallory, let's start with you and talk about maybe what sparked your interest in participating in this program.
So I want to go into nursing. So when I heard about PrepareRI, I knew that this was definitely something for me. I wanted to get real life, patient to care services and experience to get my career going forward. So after I tried and to find other internships, I got accepted into PrepareRI. It definitely was the best experience I ever had. I got to work with real patients, doctors, nurses, and other medical assistants, and it was just great.
I have to say, Mallory and Victor, this is such an amazing opportunity as high school juniors to be able to have this paid internship. I mean, most people have to wait till their college years or even beyond to be able to do this. I understand, Victor, you were actually at the brand new Citizens Bank building. So what was that like?
Well, at first it was a little nerve-wracking because, I'm 17-year-old working in, the big bank. Well, at least for me, it's Citizens huge. But it was pretty good. I worked in the student lending department in the call center, and pretty much I spent most of my time just making outbound calls to the clients of the sales agents, and then I would upload any documents. I attended a few meetings and got to know a lot of the big people in the citizens.
That's
pretty nice.
That's amazing, Victor. And Mallory, I understand that you interned with Care New England, and that actually helped you get into your first choice of college. You just found that out recently, right?
Yeah. So Care New England actually opened up a lot of doors for me. I want to be a NICU nurse, so through Care New England, I got a shadow at Women and Infants in the NICU recently over the past couple weeks. And that is like what I told myself, that's really, really my goal and my dream, to like be able to just see a glimpse of what I'm going to be doing in my life. So it really opened up a lot of doors for my future.
I think it's amazing. And Victor, let's quickly get you to tell us what your friends and other students.
You know what, Amanda, maybe we can go ahead and pause it right there.
Sure. Summer internship.
I know we're close to the end. I just want to say, I have the greatest admiration for Mallory, working with her and watching her come from a kid who just an average Joe kid who was able to utilize this program and catapult it into her dreams. So this is an amazing program. So with that, do you want to hit the slide, Amanda?
It is
Yes,
8:44,
not the
and
same video again. Here we go. So yeah, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself to you all. My name is Amanda Forget. I am a Serve Rhode Island staff member. So Serve Rhode Island is the State Commission for National and Community Service. And that means that our state commission is able to grant federal funding to nonprofits, schools, government agencies, and other organizations throughout Rhode Island in order to promote AmeriCorps programs throughout the state. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about what exactly AmeriCorps is and the benefits of service and AmeriCorps in relation to a similar type of PrepareRI experience. But I wanted to, show you a little bit more about who I am. So in addition to working for Serve Rhode Island, I am first and foremost an AmeriCorps alum. I, am a product of AmeriCorps. I did 3 terms of service, and it led me to where I am and to my career in service and in volunteerism. In addition to that, I am also a dance instructor. So 3 days a week after work, I go to Krylo Dance Studio in Woonsocket, Rhode Island, and I teach dance to a wonderful group of individuals, and that is my home, my second home. I also, with my partner Paige, have 3 cats, Tuna Fish, Macaroni, and Sasquatch. So those 3 boys are my joy. And I am on the adoptive family board. So after my AmeriCorps service, I knew that I wanted to stay involved in service in some way. And so in Woonsocket, there's an adoptive family program where families who have a hard time providing Christmas to their children can apply to our program and have organizations, other community members donate gifts to them. So the top left corner is a picture of the Elks Hall in Woonsocket filled with bags of Christmas gifts for over 1,500 children in Woonsocket. So that is something that I do on the side as well. And it's all really thanks to service and to, AmeriCorps and what AmeriCorps gave me. But before I kind of go into AmeriCorps a little bit more and my personal experience and how others can get involved, I was kind of hoping that you both here today could also introduce yourselves to us. We're kind of, we're a small, quaint group today. And so I'd love to know kind of what brought you to this presentation with Shana and myself, what interested you in AmeriCorps, if you have personal experience with AmeriCorps, so then we kind of know, where you guys are at and where to go from here. And feel free, I would love for you to be able to speak up and talk to us as well, but if you feel more comfortable using the chat box, you're more than welcome.
Hi, my name is Nancy Rabidu, and I am a degree completion coordinator at the University of Rhode Island's admissions office.
Awesome.
I ran the Finish What You Started program at URI for 10 years. I'm still the coordinator of that program, but I've added several other things in admissions with adult learners, non-traditional students, performance-based admissions as well. And I'm working with, partnering with City Year now. I'm a relationship builder. And we're
Awesome.
actually inviting City Year participants into the University of Rhode Island as performance-based admissions as a direct, giving them that chance to education if they haven't had the same background as other students who might apply to URI. And I know that AmeriCorps and City Year, also kind of blend a bit. So I think I want to, learn more about the organization so that I can better serve my students that I work with.
That's awesome. You know what, Nancy, I think I know you. When I worked over at URI for a period of time, I worked down in academic advising. I have a feeling we chatted.
We probably did.
I think we did. I think I hung out in your office a few times, and I remember thinking you were quite lovely. So that if that's not you, that person was quite lovely. But yes, I do think I know you. So thanks for joining us. That's awesome.
Thanks so much for sharing, Nancy. Joanne, would you like to introduce yourself?
I wonder if she had to step away.
All
maybe.
right, that's okay. Maybe we'll be able to hear from Joanne a little bit later, but I did want to talk more specifically, as Shana said, about AmeriCorps and what it is. And like we were talking about, it is a national service program for individuals who are just looking for an opportunity to serve their communities, but also gain a lot of professional development skills and benefits along the way. For me personally, as part of my introduction, I served as an AmeriCorps member with City Year in New Hampshire. So I moved from Rhode Island after a couple of years of college up to Manchester, New Hampshire to serve with City Year because I really personally was at a turning point in my life where I had changed my major a few times. I was unsure of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be, and I needed something different. And I thought that AmeriCorps was the right place for that. So I, visited the AmeriCorps website and looked at all of the different opportunities. And, at the time I was working at a daycare in an after-school setting, and I felt like City Year, being a similar type of setting, working in a school with students doing recess and after school, was an opportunity for me to take what I already knew and what was comfortable with, but do it in a new environment, in a safe environment to grow professionally. And I ended up doing 3 terms of service as a City Year AmeriCorps member. And over my 3 terms, City Year really helped me develop the skills that I always had, but didn't know that I could use in a professional setting. And to explain a little bit more about that, like I said, I am a dance teacher now. I grew up dancing. My family owned a dance studio for a time, and I spent a lot of my time growing up in that field, planning recitals and shows and events and learning more about managing details and operational things. But I never really knew or had found out yet that those were skills that I had, because I was just like, oh yeah, I'm a dancer. But what happened was, as an AmeriCorps member, I found myself in a place where I wanted to help plan the after school events, and I wanted to help plan the events with the corporate sponsors, and I wanted to help train the AmeriCorps members on the things that they were doing. And it really helped me figure out what skills I already had, but then also how to translate them and figure out how to apply them into a type of career that I wanted. And that lesson was completely invaluable to me, because it has brought me here to you all today and has opened up so many opportunities. So I just want to show a quick video on the next slide, a little bit more of a big picture view of what AmeriCorps is.
So you have questions about AmeriCorps? Well, you've come to the right place, because we're here to help. First off, let's clear up one thing right away. You might be wondering how to say or spell AmeriCorps. Sometimes people pronounce the P, but don't make that same mistake. AmeriCorps is alive and well, just spelled with a silent P. So think of Apple Core or Core of the Earth. Now that we have that clear, what exactly is AmeriCorps anyways? AmeriCorps is simply Americans of all ages and backgrounds dedicating their time and skills to get things done. There we go. So how does AmeriCorps get things done? More than 80,000 Americans across the country join AmeriCorps each year, and all of them are tackling different problems in different ways. For example, AmeriCorps members help families attain affordable homes. They mentor students so that they stay in school. Perhaps there is a tornado, a flood, a forest fire, or a hurricane. AmeriCorps members also help communities recover from disasters. There's so many more things that AmeriCorps members do, but if we said it all, we'd be here all day. Why do we call them members, you ask? AmeriCorps members spend anywhere from 3 months to a year dedicating their time and skills to serve. They can volunteer with nonprofits, schools, public agencies, and community and faith-based organizations. And in case you were wondering, there are a few perks AmeriCorps members get, including money to pay for college, student loan deferment, training, living allowance, health benefits, and job opportunities with leading employers. Not too bad, right? All right. What's the purpose of AmeriCorps? Like the military or the Peace Corps, AmeriCorps is a way to serve your country. AmeriCorps members make Americans safer, stronger, and healthier, and they strengthen our communities. But above all, AmeriCorps members get things done. That's it. That's what AmeriCorps is. Learn more about AmeriCorps at americorps.gov.
Awesome. So I hope that kind of helped you see kind of the overarching, mission of AmeriCorps and where it is. But I also wanted to talk a little bit about the history of AmeriCorps and where it has come from, over the past almost 100 years. So back in 1933, President Franklin Roosevelt created the Civilian Conservation Corps. This was kind of the largest national program that was created to get young men into public works projects across the country. And this is kind of the first type of project that AmeriCorps used to model and build their program that they now call the National Civilian Community Corps. So this is kind of like our nation's first look at national service and what creating something to help our country and our people. And throughout the next couple of decades, it developed, and programs like RSVP and foster grandparents and senior companions were initiated. And those programs are programs for older adults who have retired to give back to their community. So foster grandparents is an opportunity for older adults to adopt, in a sense, students in the elementary school, so type of a grandparent role. Senior Companions is a program for older adults to actually partner with even older adults who need help maybe getting to doctor's appointments or grocery shopping or things like that. And RSVP is a service that takes your skills, your skill building from your profession, and then applies that in a volunteer type of role with the newer organizations, so you can help kind of give all of your knowledge and your skills back to the next generation. And so, throughout the 60s, there was a lot of work forming those kind of programs for older Americans to keep them active, to keep them in their communities. And then basically that brings us to kind of like our closer half a century, where we see President Bush creating the Office of National Service and the Points of Light Foundation, and President Clinton signing the National and Community Service Trust Act and creating AmeriCorps in 1993, and Barack Obama signing into effect the Edward Kennedy Serve America Act, which was his way to show his appreciation for AmeriCorps and the financial help to grow AmeriCorps and the opportunity, because at this point we had seen how much that AmeriCorps has done for AmeriCorps members and the people who are participating in the program. And so there's been so much growth in national service and the benefits of serving your country up until this point, that now across the country, we have 40,000 communities that have been served across all 50 states, including Puerto Rico. And all of the AmeriCorps members across the country have served over a total of 1.6 billion hours. And that's over 250,000 members and volunteers who are benefiting from this type of experience, just like I did, finding some way to serve their community, but also learning so much about themselves and about their future and how that they can give back as well. The really cool thing about AmeriCorps as well is that, you know, we, like many other organizations, want to create equitable opportunities for all. And AmeriCorps is passionate about making sure that our programs are always accommodating those who are differently abled, who have disabilities, to being able to participate in our programs. And so when people are applying, they are always offered the opportunity to request for what we call reasonable accommodations, and just you know, removing those barriers that would typically maybe prevent an individual with a disability from applying or performing a job that they're qualified for. And so we really pride ourselves in making sure that AmeriCorps is an opportunity to provide growth. And so it's a little bit different than maybe just a typical job where you would show up and you would be expected to know how to do something and able to perform that job. AmeriCorps is an opportunity for somebody to apply to the position, not necessarily having all those skills yet, but knowing that in this atmosphere, in this program, they will learn those skills and they will develop those skills, and they will be able to be helped by all of the program staff and the people around them and welcomed and supported in that way. So, you know, I talked a little bit about AmeriCorps on a national level, but I did also want to like hone it in on Rhode Island specifically. And so since AmeriCorps and the State Commission has been operating since 1994 in Rhode Island, we have had more than 7,700 Rhode Island residents serve the state of Rhode Island in a variety of capacities at all of these different programs that you see here in this picture. And that's 11 million hours that these individuals just in Rhode Island have served to serve our schools, to serve our lands, to serve the environment. And they have earned education awards, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, totaling more than $26.7 million that they have they've been able to use towards their future education or past student loans. Right now in Rhode Island, we have a ton of programs that we'll go over a little bit later as well, but I just wanted to highlight too that there have been over, you know, 5,300 students that were served during the academic year of 2020 to 2021 by our AmeriCorps members. We were able to serve 76 veterans that were supported on college campuses at URI, RIC, and CCRI. That was a new program that was just started in 2019, and so we are excited to see that grow. There have been over 550 people just this year who have been able to be provided with food program information about food stamps through Farm Fresh Rhode Island's AmeriCorps program, and over 850 people, you know, were transitioning into safe, affordable housing through the AmeriCorps program through the NeighborWorks Blackstone River Valley Accessing Home program. So we were really excited to be able to share that information with you and to be able to, you know, tell you a little bit more about what Rhode Island is doing and all of the benefits. But I want you to think about, you know, why would somebody choose to serve with AmeriCorps? What would motivate them to do that? And maybe this next video will give you a little bit of a highlight about why somebody might want to do that.
To laugh often and much. To win the respect of intelligent people. and the affection of children. To earn the appreciation of honest critics and endure the betrayal of false friends. To appreciate beauty. To find the best in others. To leave the world a bit better. Whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition. To know even one life has breathed easier because you have lived. This is to have succeeded.
That video gets me every time. It's just incredible. It really just touches on exactly of, what the idea of being able to really offer, a helping hand and learning about people and being able to give, especially in such a time of turmoil for so many, So as we move on, I really want to address and talk about the benefits of service. And, at any point, remembering that Amanda has also actually lived this mission. So while I come at this work as the PrepareRI Ambassador and talk about how it can play out in the world of education, Amanda is our living, breathing example. And I just hats off to her because this is incredible work. And boots on the.
Amanda, had you graduated from college already when you did this, or were you still in school?
So actually I didn't. So at the time, I had attended out of high school. I graduated from Cumberland High School and I went to the College of St. Rose for 2 years. And I was a biochemistry major my freshman year, and I was a social work major with a concentration in public health my sophomore year. And after 2 years of really grappling with like what I wanted to do, and I ended up moving back home and I went to CCRI. And I earned my certificate in early childhood education. And so again, all three maybe connected but very different things. And that's when I had joined AmeriCorps. So I was not a college graduate when I joined AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps is an absolutely great opportunity for people to, join straight out of high school or join mid-college when they're kind of going through maybe a small personal crisis like I did, or after college to figure out, exactly how they want to use their degree. And so after my AmeriCorps experience, I went, it led me directly into my career, and I'm actually earning my bachelor's degree currently in an adult program at Rhode Island College. So I'm in my bachelor's program right now.
Nice. And there you go. Just one testimonial as to how somebody can take this kind of thing and turn it around and, really help them get the experience and the training and the information that they want. So, with that said, just to talk about a few benefits, and I won't read from all the slides, but obviously, you get a living allowance, which is designed to help people, being able to live as they're in the program. You get, training, which is member development, which we all, need more training, and anywhere where you can get that, some personal development and professional training, that's included. You also get a stipend award, an education award from $1,300 to $6,500 based on your terms, and loan forbearance. Somebody like me will be paying my student loans off for the rest of my life. So grateful anytime we can get something like that. And of course, healthcare and childcare, if eligible. Those are just only, a few, obviously, the personal experience as well. Do you want to grab the slide for us? And why serve with AmeriCorps? Well, AmeriCorps, in addition to the benefits and the time to really kind of put boots on the ground and see who you are in relationship to others, you're really able to kind of find your best fit. You grow personally and professionally, be a part of something bigger, and receive benefits for your service. But I think instead of just reading these slides in terms of how you can help and what you can do, I think it's Amanda's testimonial that really speaks to what it does. I mean, it's really kind of helped her find her way and thrive, and to bring these things that seem like so many different disciplines and be able to weave them together. To be able to do that while offering service is incredible. So next slide. So this is something, you know, I'm very, very interested in as I'm gaining, you know, real awareness of what it is that we do with AmeriCorps, and events that are right here that we can do. Opening day, the potluck, Martin Luther King Day Martin Luther King Jr., I can't even get this out, Day of Service. And we're very excited to do that. However, I was all ready to participate in that until I got COVID. So that kind of took a little bit away from that. So looking forward to that next year. Justice Talks, AmeriCorps Week, and recognition of National Service Day. So there's ways to just get involved right here at home, and to get your schools involved, and to get young people involved, and really be able to share that element of service and teach about the idea of AmeriCorps before people have graduated high school, graduated college, and to meet them where they're at, and to actually, you know, again, using the words boots on the ground, help our community right here in Rhode Island. Okay. And slide. So I believe Amanda's going to take this piece right here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like Shana was saying, there's just so many different opportunities, and it's kind of one of those things where you make what you want of it. You know, you join and you hope to get something out of it, and you get so much more. But I did want to, like, you know, talk about the nitty gritty a little bit and the basics of being an AmeriCorps member. So in order to be eligible to be an AmeriCorps member, you must be at least 17 years old. And you must be either a US citizen or like a legal permanent resident, and have documentation of that. And you must either have a high school diploma or maybe a GED or the promise to fulfill your diploma. So we have had AmeriCorps members who are currently taking their GED classes while they're pursuing AmeriCorps. We have had AmeriCorps members who, like I said, graduated high school and are just trying to figure out what they actually want to major in before they jump right into college. AmeriCorps members who are in the middle of college, or maybe deciding whether they want to go directly into a career or to grad school after they complete college. And so it's a great fit for anybody. And there's so many different areas of service and ways that they can do service beyond, you know, an education program like the one that I participated in. Members do participate in a 3-part criminal history check that makes them, you know, eligible to serve, and also just, you know, for safety reasons and making sure that everyone is ready to serve, and other things for the program. So we have a variety of programs, like I was mentioning, programs that take high schoolers who are still in school and utilize them in an after-school setting for younger students, or we have programs for college graduates that require, you know, a 4-year degree in order to do the service that they are doing in programs like Teach for America. And so there's kind of a variety of programs that have their own eligibility requirements, but I can show you later as well where you can find those opportunities and how you can connect other people to where to find that. And so I was kind of hoping that I could get you all just to think for a couple of minutes, not necessarily share, but think of a time where, you know, you did something for someone else that made you feel joy, or made you feel fulfilled. Why did you love that so much? What is it about that one thing that made you want to continue doing it? I really want to think about, you know, when you're working or when you're doing something, it's not necessarily always about how great you are at doing the thing that you're doing, but it's more about, you know, how that makes you feel and the connection you have when you're doing it. You know, there might be somebody like myself who's really good at math and really good at science, and I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna be a biochemistry major because these are the classes that I took in high school that I was really good at. But I, you know, took a work study job at the community service office and went on alternative spring breaks and spent more time helping others and planning things and serving other people. So I found, you know, a deeper passion and connection to the things that I love versus the things that I was really good at. And so I challenge you to maybe think about that, or think about, you know, where do you find your passion? Where did that come from? You know, what made you fall in love with the thing that you do every day? And that's kind of where AmeriCorps can fall into place for people. That's where AmeriCorps can help guide you, your students, you know, your family members, into helping them, you know, figure out what their passion is, what they love, and solidifying maybe something that they already knew, or a skill that they already had, but showing up in a different way. So, and that's kind of like what makes you think like, this is why someone would choose to do AmeriCorps. Like this is why we want to be able to tell people to join AmeriCorps, to help them, you know, learn more and grow more within themselves. So I'm going to toss it back over to Shana. So she's going to go into a little bit more about how we can kind of transition, you know, into that space where, okay, how do I take what I've just heard in the past 30 minutes? How do I take that information and share it out with people?
Yeah. So I want to reiterate that, you know, AmeriCorps is both national and local. And I want to start right here with some local programs right in our own area, whether it's Family Service or Farm Fresh Rhode Island. You know, this is how we can help our own, you know, friends, neighbors, and families right here, you know, accessing home, bringing back low, or working to bring low and moderate income families and homes through partnerships with affordable housing. You know, when I was growing up, I grew up pretty impoverished. I grew up in Colorado, as I mentioned earlier, and we had a program similar to that. And I can tell you it changed my life. We also had, you know, some Farm Fresh Rhode Island type of programs back then. It was very different. But these programs actually, you know, I'm somebody who has benefited these from on the other side. So the service that folks give, I can tell you on the other side how it really does affect change and allow me to sit in a seat where I can now give. So whether it's TerraCorps or Fab Newport or PASA or Teach for AmeriCorps or Rhode Island VetaCorps or Saga, you know, tutoring students. But what I really want to speak for is I want to speak about City Year. I had a student when I was working as a guidance counselor for just a short period of time. I was hired as a long-term sub, but you know, we all have these really impactful moments that the short job that I was hired for had one of those lasting impacts. I had a student who was, you know, just trying to kind of find her way. She was getting ready to graduate high school, and she, you know, wasn't interested in college like all of her counterparts. And she was young and dynamic and smart and just didn't understand where she fit. And we rolled across the idea of City Year in the middle of May. I was only there for the last quarter of the school year. She got so motivated, and within 3 days got the City Year application out at the national level. This is a kid who was struggling to get an assignment from 3 weeks ago in a 72-hour period got letters of recommendation and essays and everything done. And we called Providence and we got special circumstances. And she dreamed of going away to do a program. And it didn't look like it was going to happen because there was no way that she could go away with, you know, getting all of her paperwork in the middle of May. And wouldn't you know, somebody canceled out. And by the end of June, a kid who had never really left the state went into Sacramento, California, a dream of hers to be in California, and worked in City Year for an entire year. And that kid just grew, and we stayed in contact. And just being able to watch her do this, she would take the train into work, and she lived with a relative who she hadn't met. And she went out there and forged her way for an entire year and worked in the City Year program. And let me tell you, that short stint as a long-term sub-guidance counselor was one of the most blessed opportunities I've had to work with someone and to see how City Year absolutely changed their life. And again, I'm also going to attest to the fact that the people at City Year right here in Providence, they did everything they could to push her application through. So nothing but, you know, a heartwarming welcome to them as well. All right, if you want to hit the slide. So I don't remember which one of us is doing this slide right here. It could be me. Where can you go to learn more? I think that was you, wasn't it, Amanda?
Yeah, sure. these are some of the websites that you can go to learn about AmeriCorps. So I'm just going to go through them quickly for you all because this is a great resource to be able to share with others. The first one is AmeriCorps.gov, and this is our national AmeriCorps website. It's this one up here in the top left that says bringing out the best of AmeriCorps. This is a website where you can go to learn more about what AmeriCorps does on a national level, all of the different information about, you know, becoming an AmeriCorps sponsor. So if you are working with a school or an organization about, you know, becoming a sponsor of AmeriCorps members and having them participate, you can find the grant applications here. You can learn more about who to contact from different states. You can find more opportunities and resources and trainings on that website as well. The second website is the Serve Rhode Island website, and we have two. It's serverhodeisland.com or AmericorpsRI.com, and they both lead you to the same platform. One is, you know, we use a little bit more on the AmeriCorps side and for potential AmeriCorps members and programs, and one is a little bit more geared towards our full National Service Commission. And, you know, they're interchangeable and again, lead you to the exact same platform, but there is where you can learn more about our individual programs right here in Rhode Island. You can learn about you know, the programs that we have, how to apply to those programs, the direct program managers of those programs, so people can shoot an email over to those people right away and say, oh, hey, you know, I'm interested in being in this program. How do I apply? Or how can I have you come visit my students and talk more about your opportunity that you have here in AmeriCorps. And then the third website is the my.americorps.gov website. And this is the actual platform where somebody can go and apply and actually read the position descriptions of all of the AmeriCorps program opportunities that are live right now. And so someone could go to that website and search the listings and say, you know what, I want to do a service. I want to do service in Colorado in environmental studies, and they can plug in those things that they love and click enter, and it'll show you all the programs that are available right there, then and there. You can also search just by state and have all the opportunities come up, or just if you don't have any, you don't know where you want to go, or you don't have any, you know, stipulations as to where you want to be, you can just say, I want to do a program about food insecurity or housing stability, and just click that one thing and see all the programs that come up across the country and learn more about them that way. So this is where somebody would go to learn more about programs across the country and actually apply to them and fill out the application and begin their AmeriCorps profile. So, you know, those are kind of the things that we wanted to share with you today, you know, a little bit more about what AmeriCorps is, how it has both impacted Shana's life and the people that she has come in contact with and seen, you know, benefit from AmeriCorps, my personal experience, and now my career as part of the state commission, and sharing that information with you. And our connection really to PrepareRI is trying to figure out how we can do a better job of making sure that high schools and colleges know about AmeriCorps and know that they can share this opportunity out to their students who may need this type of opportunity to help shape their career. So we just wanted to say, you know, thank you to both of you for sharing this space with us today. You know, again, you can always visit AmericorpsRI.com to learn more. If you want to contact Shana about, you know, coming to your school or talking to people about AmeriCorps and how beneficial it can be for their students, or if you want to talk to me about people applying to AmeriCorps or potential AmeriCorps programs, our contact information is here for you. Next week, or in a week and a half from now, I suppose, is our National AmeriCorps Week. So that is a week where AmeriCorps across the country uses social media to you know, exemplify all of the amazing AmeriCorps members and programs that we have. And so, you know, if you are on social media, I urge you to follow @AmericorpsRI. I manage the pages on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and that is where you can see pictures and videos and all types of things from AmeriCorps members that are serving right now. And it'll also keep you up to date on, new programs that people can apply to and things like that to share with other folks around. But I am going to stop sharing my screen because it is 10:40 and we have 5 minutes left. So we can open it up for questions if you have any, or, we just wrap things up. So I just wanted to say thank you again, Nancy, and thank you again, Joanne, for being here today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. It was great to share it with you.
It gave me a much better understanding, so thank you for all these. We have, I think, 7 candidates from City Year from all over the nation that are looking to start their relationship with URI. So we're excited about that. Some of them grad, some right out of high school, so a range of students. But is there anything that, the URI admissions office can do to support either of your organizations? Not saying I can make it happen, but I'll ask if there's a want or a need.
Yeah, I think that there's a really great connection that can happen between, an admissions office and AmeriCorps, or just in general. I think that, the admissions office, or maybe the academic advisors, or call it like career readiness offices or things like that. If there's information about AmeriCorps, AmeriCorps members can serve a maximum of 1,700 hours. That's the largest position in a year. And that roughly turns out to about a full-time job, 35 to 40 hours a week for a 10 to 12-month period. But the smallest AmeriCorps position that is offered is what's called a minimum time position. And that's a 300-hour position that can also be done over a 10 to 12-month period. And so a college student could very well be able to, manage a college academic load while also being an AmeriCorps member in a part-time type of role, serving in an after-school setting from 3 to 6 or something like that. So it's not only an opportunity for people to serve in between or as a transition, but it could also be something that they do in conjunction with or over a summer. If there are summer programs, that, you can be an AmeriCorps member serving 300 hours between June and August at a summer camp and be working, full-time hours during the week to make those 300 hours. And so there really is a lot of different opportunities that could serve, your offices to be able to tell students about these kind of opportunities that are maybe a substitute to work study or in addition to work study if some people don't necessarily qualify, or just to build their resume and to get that experience and, as a type of internship, so to say, as well.
Can I ask a complicated question?
Yeah.
Let's say a student, because I work with students that have a lot of barriers. Like I don't deal with pretty pictures because I deal with students who've had a break in their education, or, they've had a financial crisis where they can't pay for school. If a student is leaving school because of a past due balance, could they do AmeriCorps and then use that money towards that balance that they've earned? Because I saw that you said they could use it for like 100%. Student loans, but can they use it? They can. Okay. Because sometimes you say to me, how can I find money, and still be moving forward?
Yeah, AmeriCorps is an absolutely viable option to find money for college and for student loans. So for example, like I said, I had attended the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York for 2 years. And so I had student loans from that opportunity. But after I served with AmeriCorps, because I served a full-time position with AmeriCorps, I did 1,700 hours over a school year. My education award was valued at $5,500. And so I was able to use that $5,500 to pay my student loan company. But if, let's say, I was somebody who had the privilege of not having student loans, or I hadn't gone to college yet and had student loans or a bill, I could also directly pay a school for my future tuition. And so if a school has a bill or there is an outstanding bill for a student, they would go to that my.americorps.gov after they've completed their service. And it's basically like a bank account where they can use this money and say, I want to send it to the University of Rhode Island, and that website will send that money there. They can't, take it out as cash or anything like that, but it can be sent to Sally Mae, it can be sent to Navient, it can be sent to URI or any other institution to pay a bill, future or past.
Great.
And I just want to put out there too, Nancy, if you, and I'm speaking out of turn in terms of getting, your thoughts on this, Amanda, but I think that or we would be more than willing to, meet with you or meet with admissions or talk with people as well. If you've got, people and they're interested, we could definitely either do it virtually or in person and figure out how we can help bring the program a little bit more alive as well to the campus. So just keeping that in mind as well, if you decide you want to look into it further, but you don't know every single thing about it, feel free to reach back out.
Yep, no, I took both your names down, so
Perfect.
Awesome.
I am the relationship builder in the office with community-based organizations. So, really, I've only been back in admissions for a year and a half. The first 2/3 of my career was in admissions, the first 20 years, and then I've been doing the finish what you started, but they've recently brought me back because it makes sense. I agree with them that this is where this program should be housed. But building relationships, because I already work with many organizations with adult learners. So it all kind of makes sense in my map in my head.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Nancy and Joanne, for joining us today. I am so appreciative of your time. And at 10:46, we will let you go and enjoy your break before your next session.
Yeah.